What's up, fellas? How you doing, man? Antonelli here.
There you go! Yeah! Yeah!
Yeah, boy.
All right, so game 4 is against Nelson Baseball. They're from, where are they from? Georgia. I believe they're from Georgia. They had a couple of really, really good teams in this tournament. The team that we played against wasn't one of their top teams. I believe they had two, like, stud-full teams where they had tons of D1 commits. This team, they might have had a couple commits, but they didn't have a whole lot. And so, how about this? This is actually amazing that this happened. We come out in the first inning, top of the first, we're the away team, and we don't score. And then we give them 3 runs in the bottom of the first inning. This is unbelievable that this continues to happen. And they get those runs by, let's see, they fly out to start the game with a guy that could, he had a really good swing, he had some quick hands. Then we give up a single, we hit a batter to load the bases, we make an error, we walk a guy, we walk another guy. Is this real life? And then we get a guy to pop out. So we go down 3-0. Thankfully, in this game, we finally come out and really swing the bat. So we scored 2 in the second, 2 in the third, 6 in the fourth. So we ended up putting up a bunch of runs against them. This game was actually one of the slowest moving games in the history of baseball. Their pitcher got hit with a ball and got hurt. They ended up taking a bunch of pitchers out. They ended up... There was like balk calls and non-balk calls, and their manager was arguing a lot, and so the game was moving at like a snail's pace, and we only finished 5 innings. So we didn't even play the 6th and the 7th inning. It took us over 2 hours to play 5 innings in this game because of just the mess of a game that it was. We ended up winning 10-5, thankfully. We got a huge pitching performance by our starting pitcher, who's actually our starting right fielder, but he also pitches. So he ended up throwing, in 5 innings, he ended up throwing 90 pitches, right around 90 pitches, and which was huge because in that first inning, when I talked about they went single, hit by pitch, error, walk, he threw like 30-something pitches, and I was nervous that I was going to have to pull him after the first inning. And when you play in this tournament, you play 7 games. It's a minimum of 7 games in 6 days, and we had already had some injuries. So I failed to mention this kind of early on, but one of our catchers, one of our best players, ended up tearing his meniscus and missed the whole tournament. One of our top pitchers ended up spraining his UCL in high school, and we thought he'd be back to pitch, and he wasn't. So we were really short-handed, and we had some other guys banged up also. And so we were short-handed. So to get that outing out of him, 90 pitches or so, we ended up bringing in someone to kind of finish off the game. He only had to throw 6 pitches. They have pitch counts down there, so depending on how many pitches you have, that determines how many days off you have to have. So you kind of have to make sure that you don't throw guys too much. And so we ended up having a guy come in and just close the game. But we won 10-5, thankfully. So we played really, really well offensively. They made a couple of errors that led to a few big innings for us also. And we ended up, basically after that horrible first inning, we ended up playing better baseball, thankfully. So we end this game with the win, we're now 2-2. And we've got to really start playing some good baseball if we want a chance to move on to the next round, because you can't lose. Really, you almost can't lose 2 games. There are some teams in certain brackets that'll move on with 2 losses, but it's really difficult. So if we want to move on, we really can't afford to lose another game. So big win there, and let's see what happens in the next one.
Let's go, let's go! He'll get 3, he'll get 3, he's gonna get 3.
Home Dyer, home Dyer!
Okay, in the 5th game now, we're 2-2, and we're playing 5-Star. So they're a team from Georgia. Again, really good program. We actually played them last year in the tournament, and they ended up beating the hell out of us last year. They had a really, really good team that we played. Had a bunch of big-time commits. They had one dude that was going to St. John's that ended up hitting a home run or 2 home runs against us last year. This year, their team offensively wasn't as strong. They had a really good catcher going to Mississippi State. He was a 3-hole hitter. He had a cannon behind the plate. But they didn't swing the bats very well. And so we ended up winning this game 2-1. So it was a really close game. It was finally a game that was played really well defensively. Just looking at this quick, I don't even know if we made, let's see here. I don't think we made an error this game, finally. No, we didn't. We didn't make an error. We threw strikes. We got a humongous performance out of our starting pitcher. He ended up going a complete game in only, let's see here. He threw 76 pitches in a complete game. So he attacked them. Didn't walk a lot of guys. Let me see how many walks we had here. 1, 2, 3 walks in 7 innings, so not terrible. Didn't hit anybody, so finally different than all the other games we played so far. Offensively, we didn't hit the ball great. We hit a couple balls really hard right at people, but we played a sound game. And again, I say this all the time, at 17U with wood bats, with pretty good pitching, if you play good defensive baseball and you throw strikes, you're going to have a really good chance to win, because there's not going to be a lot of runs scored, right? And so, again, I always like it when I don't write a whole lot of notes on my card. Usually if I have a whole lot of notes, that means we didn't play very well. And here I only have a couple. So, solid game. We actually, in the bottom of the 7th, we're up by 1. They ended up getting a couple guys on. Let me see how the bottom of the 7th ended right here. Well, they got one guy on, and he was in scoring position. Actually got the third base. So we got the third with 1 out, and we got a huge strikeout. So man on third, 1 out, struck him out, and ended up striking out the next guy to win the game. So big win for us. At this point, we're 3-2. And again, we're going to have to win the final 2 games to have any chance of moving on. Even if we do win the 2, we may still not move on. But at least now we've got a winning record. We're starting to play some better baseball, and hopefully have a little momentum going into our 6th game.